Hello, Brother Sewing friends and family. Angela Wolf here, Brother Brand Ambassador, and I hope you had a great holiday weekend. So, we have a fun show for you today. We've got another brand ambassador joining, and wait till you see her messy project. That's the only thing I can say about it. Hi, Emily. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good and so glad to be here. And I am making a mess. So
we love messy sewing, and now after the weekend, we're kind of like cleaning up. So if you've never been here before, we are live streaming on Brother Sewing and Crafting YouTube and Facebook pages, and we are actually not live, so we will not be bringing your comments up, but we'll be watching from the comments. So be sure to say hi. If you have questions, we always go back and check those out. So Emily, I'm very excited for this project, and I think so many people are going to love this. And doesn't have to be as messy as I've seen, but.
Right. Well, I have sewed this project with less messy fabric, and it turned out just as beautifully. So I'm hoping that the mess will be worth it for a fun twist on what I've sewn before. But I did just want to point out real quick before I get started that I think a couple months ago, I sewed this cardigan and I'm wearing it and it's finished and I've been loving it. So I did end up taking off the binding that was narrow and I added a wider binding for more coverage because it was seeming kind of skimpy. So anyway, I love my cardigan. So the projects that I do sew on here, I wear and I use, and I'm hoping that today's project will be the same.
So Emily, I'll try to look and see what episode that was because I love that project. In fact, you inspired me to take some sweater fabric and do the same thing. I just made it a little bit longer and I love it. I love it. So, and I made what I'm wearing. I love it when we can work on a project and we can wear it.
Yes.
It's wearable.
Yes. In fact, yesterday I was talking to my daughter's teacher and she was saying, "Oh, I love this shirt she's wearing. Where did she get it?" And I said, "I made it." And she was just like so thrilled to hear that, and she just was kind of jealous. So I actually went and I ordered more of that same fabric, and I'm hoping for Christmas to sew her like a sweatshirt because it was kind of like a sweatshirt fleece fabric. So she can be matching with my daughter. She's like young and super cute, and it will look great. So
that's awesome. So speaking of wearing, what are you going to be making that we can wear today?
That's right. So I'm going to make a hooded cape, poncho, whatever you want to call it. So I will be watching this show and I'll try to make sure I put the link to this full tutorial that's on my website, but you can always go to lifesewsavory.com and you'll just be able to search wool cape and you can find this pattern and it does, or this tutorial. The only thing that's an actual pattern is it does come with a hood template. And this is of course like a one size fits all template. So I printed this and assembled, it's just a few pages. And then you can cut out the hood that goes on a cape that we're just gonna DIY, create the size of the cape ourselves. So you can see the mess I'm making already with this Sherpa fabric. So I found this really cool buffalo plaid on one side and super soft Sherpa on the other, but it is like snowing in here. So
grab your vacuum cleaner, get your
so I'm definitely gonna have to clean the house when I'm finished with this. And the original one I made out of like a wool, I don't think it was real wool, but a wool like fabric. So it was definitely not as messy. And I finished the edges differently and I fully lined the hood because you know, that fabric, I wanted it to look nice on the inside and the outside. So this one is going to be a little bit different because I'm not going to line the hood because I want to see both sides of this fabric. So I think we're just going to kind of sew it together. And then I need to finish the edges because it's so messy. Although I do wonder if I just kept pulling at it, if I could get it off and then not finish the edges.
You know, Emily, you're going to be coughing up hairballs for like a week.
Well, I had a crazy sneezing fit, so I'm a little bit nervous that that might happen again. So you might cover for me for a minute if I start like sneezing all over. So I cut out 2 hood pieces instead of 4 hood pieces because we're not going to line it. Okay, so I
Sounds good.
cut out the hood, but I did just want to show you how I kind of eyeball the rest of the cape. And I'm actually going to take off my cozy cardigan so it doesn't get covered in fur. And then, so I bought 2 yards of this fabric, and that will be plenty to have a big cape and then cut out the hood as well. And I could have cut out 4 hood pieces, I think, from some of the scraps, but just make sure you have enough to kind of, you know, go make a square for the body and then also for the hood. So I am going to fold this in half. And so I think what I'm going to do is, let me just adjust this slightly. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is the front and back are the selvage edges down here. And then the side to side is the cut edge. And I feel like I have, you know, well, my arm span is still left of the fabric. So after I cut off the hood from one side. So I'm going to, as much as possible, try to keep the selvage edge so that I don't have to finish that. And then we'll just finish the sides. So this is a super simple shape. You're just cutting a rectangle or square, and then you're trimming if it's too long. So I want it below my waist. So definitely not too long. And the side to side, by the time I trim up the shape a little bit, will be perfect. So I'm just going to kind of trim up this piece that I already have. And then
Emily, that fabric you have, because it has the plaid on it, the boxes to, I just think of boxes to follow. That will make it so easy to cut it a perfect square. You just follow the print.
Exactly. Yes, when I was cutting the hood, I just kind of lined up the hood on one of the lines and then cut the other side. And so I know at least the bottom will be even. Now, I did notice when she was cutting this in the store that it was very hard for her to line up the boxes. In fact, you can see here, look at what a terrible job was done cut on that side.
How do you not? I'm just saying, how hard could it be to follow the boxes?
I know. Well, and even just cut on so I don't know if they're printed off grain. I don't know, but I will definitely trim those sides. So yes, I am going to just cut a straight line based on the last full box. So that's how I'm going to trim up the sides. And again, I'm leaving this bottom selvage edge. So after I've cut the sides, then I'm going to fold it into more of a square and cut a circle in the center for the neck, because I need to be able to get my head through the middle. And the great thing about this hood is because of the shape and the design, you really can't, it can be adjusted for many sizes. And I'll show you how we do that. This was super uneven. That is not even close on the cutting. Okay, so now let's do the same thing on the other side and cut. I think this is the side I cut my hood from, so I have a little bit of weird shapes where I cut out the hood. But I think I can even it up. So with the wool, you could cut like fringe, or you could hem, or you could just really leave it raw. But on this one, I think I am just going to end up serging these raw edges to try and keep the snow to a minimum. I don't know.
You know what would be another fun thing, Emily, for somebody who maybe is watching this that doesn't have a serger? I mean, even folding that Sherpa to the right side over twice and just stitching would look so cute.
So cute. Yes. Yeah. So you could easily just do a narrow little roll. That actually would be adorable on the edge there. So that's a great idea. Okay. So now give this a shake. And
we're gonna call this the shaggy shake. I don't see so much. Oh yes, I can see stuff.
Yeah, it's just like floating in the air here. Crazy. Okay, so we're lining up the bottom, and it seems pretty even. I think this pattern might be not even printed on the grain, but that's okay. It will look pretty even. So double fold to the center. And now we're going to create the neck hole here in the middle. Okay. So,
all right, so just to be clear, you folded it once and then you folded it over.
yeah. So fold it in half and then in half again so that we have a double fold here in the middle and no raw edges. And then I have my finished edge on the bottom and my shaggy edges on the right and left side. And you could do the math and figure this out, like, you know, measure around your neck and figure out a radius like you do for a circle skirt. But because this doesn't really have to be exact, it really just needs to go over my head and be comfortable. I'm gonna just start small and cut it, and then if I need to cut bigger, I will. So if I cut,
can you put your camera down just a little bit so we can see that corner? Thanks so much. There we go.
I'm trying to think if 2 inches is a good place to start or bigger.
Well, you can always cut a bigger hole.
Go bigger. I know. I'm afraid if I go too big. Okay, so let's mark 2 inches around and see what that looks like. This is a lot of fabric to cut through. I don't think that's going to be quite big enough, but now what you could do, what I'm going to do, is just enlarge it by cutting, you know, another ½ inch or so off this neck.
So then you just keep trying it on over your head.
So I'm just going to keep trying it on because I don't want it like a gaping neck. You know, I want it to be really, I think what I'm going to do is make one side the front and just cut it a little bit deeper, only on one side of the fabric, and then I'm going to try it on.
That's a good idea.
And you don't have to worry. This is all going to be sewn on the hood. So if it's looking not great, you can go with that. Okay, so
this is going to make a good hair day.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we have a good start.
That's cute.
Okay, so cozy. I just need it to get cool here so I can actually wear it. Yesterday was like 70 degrees, so it's hopefully by the time this airs, the end of December, it will actually be chilly. And I can be wearing this cozy for January. Okay, so now it is just covered. See that? I'm gonna have to really give it a good shape. Okay, so now we have this, and we're going to, like I said, finish the 2 raw edges, and then we're going to sew the hood together, and I'll kind of show you how to make this fit whatever size neck hole that you are dealing with. So I'm going to just swing the camera right around over here. Hopefully.
Sounds great. Hey, what sewing machine are you going to be using? Because I know everyone always loves that, and especially during the holidays, some people just want a new machine. Some people are thinking of getting one.
Yes. So I think this entire project can be sewn on my serger, which is the Simplicity 3734. Sorry, I should have eyed that up before we got started here. Can't get it down in the corner.
Almost.
I know. I just have to adjust my camera stand here.
So everyone always takes baby emotion sickness tablet before the shows. We're good.
Yep. Okay. So, can't quite see everything. There we go.
Great.
Okay. So on the serger, I'm gonna first, I think, just sew the hood together. Oh, you can see it on me.
I was just gonna say, I just want to come over there with a lint roller.
I don't even think I own a lint roller. I'm going to have to buy one just to clean myself up. Oh, this is definitely, I did not think through this. So I'm going to make the red the outside, but I think this fabric, you really could do whatever you wanted. But I'll keep the Sherpa on the inside. So we're going to sew the curved seam of the hood with the red and black fabric together and then sewing the fur up along there. So if you really didn't want to see this, you'd probably want to change your thread to white or light color, but I'm going to keep the black on there so that when I finish the edges, then it will kind of blend in better with the fabric.
So
to see on the white side.
Just real quick for those that want a technical, to know everything going on. You have 4 threads in there right now? 4 threads?
I do have all 4 threads in there. They are all dark colors. They're not all exactly the same dark colors now that I look at it. Got some brown and some black and a little bit of dark gray. I've been sewing a lot of, dark sweater fabric. So I've just kind of had this selection going. And I think I have fur in my eye.
Oh, goodness.
So, all right, so we're going to sew the seam and then see how the hood comes together. This is very thick fabric with the 2 layers. I don't have any concerns really about this machine being able to handle it, but I am going to sew slower than I normally do while I'm going through the 2 layers of the fabric. I think I'm finishing the edge on a single layer. Not even a concern. And really, I'm more worried about possibly breaking a needle than anything, just with the thickness. But you can see that it's sewing really nicely, and I didn't even actually adjust any of the settings, but this will finish it and hopefully stop the crazy fray from happening. So I'll show you close up when I get it, but
actually, we like the fact that you're using some darker threads so we can see that whole thing now.
Yes. So white would obviously blend in, but black is going to be great because you're going to be able to see exactly where I've sewn and how those serger stitches are really finishing this fabric perfectly. So if you weren't using a serger and you were trying to sew this part of the hood, I would probably sew with a straight stitch and then maybe try to do a zigzag over to just try and contain some of the fluff. So that would probably be my tip for sewing this without a serger. But okay, so you can see here, finish this edge really nicely and has totally, I think, contained the mess on that. And I love the shape of this hood. It's just really fun, and it looks great if you're wearing it, back, not on your head, or on as well. Okay. So, and when I've sewed it before and used 2 layers, then it will be a little bit smaller in the front because then I would sew the 2 pieces together on this front neckline and then turn it right side out. And then this would be the finished edge with the lined hood. So we're not going to line it today. So I'm just going to brush myself off and keep sewing.
I know somebody's going to ask, did you have to use any special needles in the serger? No, you don't. This should work with just your standard universal serging needles.
So I just have universal needles in from whatever the last project was that I was sewing, and it's going through just great. So I'm interested to see now here, I'm going to finish the front of the hood. I think it's going to, I'm not going to feel quite as nervous. Not that I was really nervous, but it felt pretty quick, but I think it feels much smoother with the single layer. So no real concerns there. So I can go a little bit quicker. I'm just cutting off just a barely bit, mostly of the Sherpa, not so much of the check fabric, unless I see where I didn't cut it very well, and then I'm trimming that up. So we're going to go across the top, grab that serger tail from the other seam, and then sew down the other side, and that really should finish the front of this. So again, I think it would be so cute to double fold over especially, I probably should have done that around the edge of the hood. Maybe I'll turn it back even after I've serged it, then I won't have to do a double fold.
That's so, your serger is so quiet. I'm just thinking you're right there. The camera's right there. And sergers sometimes
3 feet away.
Yes. Oh,
okay,
yes.
So there's the edge. But I'm actually thinking, how cute would that be? I think I'm going to fold it over and stitch it like that. So
I like
we're
that.
going to do a quick change.
I like that a lot. A lot. I think that's
and
I
have some extra length to play with because of how I normally sew this. So it should be just fine.
So Emily, I have to just ask because I love that you can put all your feet in the front of that machine. What machine are you on? Because I know somebody's going to ask.
This is the 5200 Essence line. And apparently I don't have any power here. So we may or may not be, they're all plugged into the same thing. Oh, there it goes. This is the same power strip is powering these machines. Yes, so I love that it has this tray in the front, but sometimes, and it's, well organized, but sometimes they fall out because I take it off to put on the embroidery unit and then I just stash it somewhere and I don't keep it level and then the feet go everywhere. So I was using a specialty foot yesterday and now I don't know where I put my regular foot. So here's one. I don't think that was what I had on before, but should work. Okay. So I'm just going to fold this over a little, maybe a 1/2 inch. And then I have white thread on here. And then I think I'm just going to straight stitch right on the serging to give a little extra detail on the front of that hood. I think that will add just a really cute look there. And I've already finished it, so I don't really have to do a double fold. I think I'm going to lengthen the stitch just a little bit to 3 millimeters. And I don't really need it to be a super close stitch on here. Again, I just have a universal needle on this machine.
And I know people are probably thinking, is there any other feet I could use besides the standard? Yes, you could use the Move It foot. That would be fun. A great opportunity to use the Move It foot with this project because it floats over both of those layers so easy.
Yes, so you can see that because, again, this is a little thicker, I'm putting one hand behind and I'm not really pulling, but just giving a little bit of tension in the back to keep it moving so it doesn't get stuck because it is, again, 2 layers of pretty thick fabric. My needle is sewing on the serge part, so that is a little bit already flattened. And helping that go pretty smoothly, but the Sherpa is just kind of shaggy and thicker, so I just don't want it to get really stuck on one particular spot. So this will just be a cute little detail added on the edge of my hood, and because I had plenty of width, because usually I do sew 2 hoods together, this should be like this. If you wanted to fold over a wider brim, I would definitely lengthen the front of your hood a little bit. So you just have more fabric to play with. But I think for this narrow one, it should be just fine.
And I'm going to put your website up down below again. For those of you that hopped in a little bit late and are like, where do I get the pattern for the hood? It's right down below.
Yeah, so the hood is a free printable pattern. And then, oh, I love it.
It's so cute. It actually looks like it's snowing in your living room.
So there may not be snow outside, but there's definitely snow in here. So these tails are the key to making this a one-size-fits-all hood, because depending on the size of your neck hole, you simply overlap these tails more or less. Okay, so make sure that your cape neck hole is big enough to go over your head before you attach the hood. But once you've figured that it's large enough, then you just are going to overlap those ends. Oh my goodness, my shirt. You're going to overlap those ends as much as needed. And it really is cute on the front. You know, I love the overlap, but it also allows for that sort of adjustable neckline depending on how big or small you're making this. And I've actually cut down this hood to make it for my daughter as well, which is really cute. So you kind of just eyeball the general shape and then go with it. Sorry, I need my clips. Go with it to make a child's size. So you can adjust that. Okay, so I need to find again sort of the front and back of this that I created.
This is going to be so cute.
Well, and it's so warm and cozy. I'm super excited to be able to, I think on, you know, not a super cold day, just be able to wear this out and about. Okay, so there's my lower front neckline. So I'm going to keep that in mind as I pin on the hood before we sew that on. So the center of the back, we are going to align right sides together with the center of the back hood, which is easy to find because it's the seam. Okay, so that's the seam that we've already sewn on the back of the hood. And I start from the back because, again, we're going to adjust the overlap of our front. So we want to work from the back forward so we know how much needs to be overlapped. So from that back, I'm going to work my way around. This fabric does not really have any stretch, so I'm not worried about that. But if your fabric does have a little bit of stretch, make sure that you're not stretching it out as you're pinning the hood on and around. So I'm going to go most of the way around on one side, but then I'm going to stop and go from the other side so I can work on those overlaps together. Now that will be 3 layers of fabric for the short distance that I'm overlapping. So we're going to have to sew really slow to make sure that everything hopefully sews together nicely on that level.
That's a lot of fabric. So
it's a lot of fabric. I know. I just am thinking about this as I'm going. So I'm
just curious, if somebody was like, I don't know, maybe they have a thicker fabric than you have or something.
Yeah.
Would you recommend maybe just basting that together first, just to make sure that it's together before you fight with the serger? Not that you have to fight with the serger, but
yes, I would run it through the regular machine first to kind of test the waters, especially if you haven't sewn a lot on your serger and are less confident with just experimenting with things. And, you know, broken needles on the serger are a pain. Ooh. So, you know, yes, you could definitely baste it. The thing is, this fabric is really thick, but most of it is fluff. So the needles aren't actually having to punch through. It's not like a leather or, you know, a vinyl. It really, the fabric itself is quite thin. It's mostly just going through the presser foot because it's so puffy. So I really do think it will be fine. Famous last words.
Sure is cute.
Okay, so I've overlapped the front here. Okay, oh, yeah. So I've got my crisscross here of the fabric and then the hood on the back, which, you know, even if I'm not wearing it, this hood just down the back is going to be so cute. And I'm so glad we added that little detail. So, okay, I'm going to start from the back, warm up a little bit with only 2 layers of fabric before we move to the 3 layers of fabric. So definitely feels like a little bit of
we cannot wait to see what this ends up looking like. So
a big wad of fabric here going through my machine and sitting on the edge, but hopefully it will be adorable. So yeah, I saw this fabric and I was thinking, what could I make with it? Because it looks so cozy. of course, yesterday I was sewing with like a true fur fabric, and my daughter wanted a sweater made out of it. And, you know, the back of fur is not really like nice against your skin. So I was trying to think, what could I make for her with that really fuzzy fabric on the outside that she would like? I don't know. I was sewing like pillows, which then you don't care what the inside looks like. Okay, I'm getting to the thick, so going really slow here. And sometimes, here's a little tip. If your machine has trouble getting started, I sort of help the hand crank a little bit with my hand, and it sort of gets it started slow and easy and seems to help it move along. So that is sometimes what I will do if I'm sewing like this through thick fabric, and I'm afraid if I start too fast that, you know, I'll break a needle or something.
I also want to remind anyone here who's maybe new to serging, there's a ton of good videos on Brother Sew's page. Emily has some on her YouTube. I have some on my YouTube. And also remember, if your fabric's thicker than what Emily's working on and you can't quite get it under that foot, there's a knob on top of the machine, and turn that knob lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, and it will raise and lower your presser foot a little bit. So
yes. That's one of the things. You can definitely adjust, yes, your presser foot, your tension,
differential feed. There's so many different things.
So many things.
If you're bored this weekend and you are taking the weekend off for New Year's, you can binge watch all day long.
Yes. Okay, we're almost around to the back. We will have to do a quick check to make sure I caught all 3 of those layers in the front. It was just kind of hard to tell as I was sewing around, but this machine gets a bonus for sewing through all of that fabric. Oh, it's so cute. I think it's all attached. Okay, so there is the front with the crossover, which I love and adds such a cozy detail. It's going to kind of create, you know, that cowl neckline to keep it cozy, which is another reason why you don't want to cut it too huge, because especially if you want it cozy, that will just keep the hood closer to your neck. So I am doing great not sneezing through this. So the last thing that I'm going to do is finish the 2 raw edge sides of my cape. And if you wanted to make this an oval shape or, you know, a triangle with the points, I've seen sometimes, you know, where the points are at the front and the back, and then on your wrists, you can get really creative with how this is going to look. I am just keeping it a very simple rectangle shape. And again, you should be able to create this from about 2 yards of fabric, as long as it's 60 inches wide. So I'm keeping that full 60 inches on the front and back to make sure that it's nice and long. And then the sides are shorter than that. So depending on your height, you might want the 60 to go side to side or front or back. So easy though to cut out the shape and keep it going. So I'm just sewing along the, you know, edge of the check, and again, just trimming off tiny bits of the fur,
a little bit, tiny bits of the snow in the room.
It's probably like floating in the air everywhere. I think I'll just end up throwing this in the wash after I shake it to just really make sure that all the extra fuzz is off. And then vacuum the house probably 10 times this afternoon.
This will probably be one where you have to put like a little disclosure. Be sure to empty your dryer lint section when you're done with this, drying this fabric.
Yes, I'm thinking, you know, if I shake it and let's see, cut a little bit of an extra long tail, because I will put that back through itself. I think if I give it a good shake out, it actually won't lose a lot in the washer and dryer, but just to get off the extra because it is such a mess right now. Oh, I just shoot. A looper just ran out. It just ran out of thread.
Oh.
So I am, I think, going to call it good while we're ahead on that one. So let me just, I will try it on for you without the second side completely finished, but let me just show you one little tip here when you have your unfinished serger tails. So, you know, this is not going to be caught into a seam here on the edge because I'm just going to leave this as is. And if you cut this, then it will continue to unravel. So you want to make sure you don't just cut that if you're not enclosing another seam. So I like to just take this darning needle. You can also fold it back onto itself and sew it with your sewing machine. But my quick and easy way is usually just to take about 1 inch through with the darning needle and then put those tails through the large eye, which I like, and then pull it through, give it a good little tug. And then you have that finished edge on the front and the back, and it won't fray. And I have washed items many, many times, and it doesn't seem to come out ever. So that's just a great and easy way to finish those loose tails that you might have on your project.
That's a great, great tip too, Emily.
Okay, so let's take a look. It's, 95% finished.
Drum roll. Oh my goodness, that is so stinking cute.
And then you can wear it down, and it is so cozy. The back.
Oh, I love it.
So it feels very warm, and I'm so excited, to wear it this winter. I think it's going to be even cozier than the wool one I made was more of a fall, thickness. But I think this I could wear even when it's pretty chilly if I had a sweater or something underneath. So there you go. This edge is finished completely, and this one I just need to zip up and finish the rest. But you definitely get the idea, and you're not missing anything by me not fighting with my serger to replace that thread right now. So
you know what, Emily, that is so cute. I'm just thinking, okay, that would be great with a pair of jeans, just hanging out, cute. Going out to the campfire. But it would also, I'm looking at that, so stylish with a pair of maybe faux leather pants and some boots. You could dress it up and wear some little black gloves. That would totally dress it up or make it casual. Love it.
Yep, and you can adjust the length. Like this is, a bit long. Well, I mean, I like it, but if you don't want it quite so long, or you want to change the shape and make it, a curved edge, you really can adjust that. And then it would also play with the style as well, depending on, the shape you make. So.
Oh, absolutely. So since we're going to be watching this from the comments, I would love to know, everyone that's watching, are you going to make this, and are you going to dress it up or dress it down? Because I could think of so many great opportunities for this. And that literally took less than 50 minutes from live to start the show to here. And you're finished.
And I'm finished. It is very much a simple project. And depending on your fabric, you're going to change a few things, how you finish the edge, how you make the hood. But the general sense of the project is the same, whether you're choosing a wool fabric, or this is great out of fleece too, especially for kids, make it a fleece cape. But it's still, is an easy project, and I think turns out pretty good. The hood is generous in the size, so hopefully fits all of you.
I love it. So Emily, this is such a great project. Perfect before New Year's, because for those of us like myself that aren't, I'm usually just hanging out, sitting by the fireplace. This is going to be fantastic.
Totally. Yeah, you can make it out of you can make it like a robe to wear around the house, whatever. So many options.
I'm thinking when is going to get a little decor. That's what I should see if I can find one with some fish on it.
Yeah. fun fabric and make it cute. So yeah, so many options. And this one is cozy inside and out. So I'm excited to wear it.
I love it. So I'm going to put your website up below for those of you that popped in later, or you're like, what is her website? It's right down below. You can see that, Life So Savory. That is where you will find that pattern. I also put my website and Brothers. In case you're bored this weekend, you can binge watch our YouTube channels, which would be fantastic. And if you'd like to go back and watch this from beginning to end, if you're on Facebook, share it to your page. That's the easiest way. And if you're on YouTube, you can share it to watch later, and be sure to subscribe to the page. Click on the button. Anything else? What are you doing for New Year's?
Oh, I had no plans. I don't even know. It feels too far away. So we're, I don't have any plans. So we'll see. Maybe something will come up last minute.
I know. My whole goal is just to try to stay awake till midnight. But you know what? It doesn't happen very often. I love my mornings. And if I do that, I'll miss my mornings. So
yes, our goal usually was to stay up till 11 when we lived in the Midwest, to be able to watch the ball drop at 11. And then we moved to mountain time, and I was super excited because I thought the ball will drop at 10. Yay. But they don't. They delay it, and we can't even get till midnight. So it's worse. It's worse. It's the one time that mountain time is worse. So
my dear friends in Australia, I like to watch yours because that's usually in the time span that I'm awake.
Yes.
So what a great project, Emily. Thank you so much. And all of you watching, thank you. We wish you a very merry, let's see, this would be a Happy New Year's. What day is it?
That's right.
And for those of you that are going to be around on Thursday, we also have a show for you then. Looking forward to seeing you then. But those of you that are taking off for New Year's, have a wonderful time. Emily, great to see you. Everyone else, have a wonderful day. And brother, thank you for letting your ambassadors take over your page. Till next time. Bye.